Now on to our main topic, the NDIA and the 2024 Integrated Program Management Division Tools and Services Forum.
Great. So before we talk about the forum, let's give some background on NDIA. So we like to define acronyms. So NDIA is the National Defense Industrial Association. It's a trade consortium for the U.S. government and the defense industrial base. Sometimes we call that DIB. Now it's headquartered here in Arlington, Virginia.
The NDIA was established in 1919 as a result of the inability of the defense industry to scale up to the war during World War I.
Okay, so let's talk about World War I history. Wonder if John Pryor knows this. Well, if not, let's talk about it. In 1917, Brigadier General Benedict Cromwell was called to serve active duty on the General Munitions Board. Now, he immediately established a relationship with the steel industry. So he was a significant catalyst in improving the country's capability to produce arms and ammunition. Now, he recognized the nation's needs for an association that fostered cooperation between civilian industry and government in support of industrial preparedness. Now, all of this led to the formation of the Army Ordnance Association, which was NDIA's precursor. Now, this ensures industrial preparedness that could help deter future conflict and ensure effective manufacturing support to the military when deterrence fails. Cromwell was determined to learn from failures, to prepare for and exploit change, and the same imperatives exist today. Now, all of this led to the foundation of NDIA.
The NDIA has 27 divisions organized into 3 areas: technology, warfare, and policy.
Okay, so in addition to the different divisions, NDIA has ongoing projects that are updated by the strategy and policy team. So 2 of those initiatives include the REG Tracker. Now, this database was developed to serve as a repository of information about active rulemakings relevant to the DIB, as well as NDIA's Defense Workforce Project. Now, this is a multi-year initiative to address challenges to the vision of a robust, ready, and cleared defense workforce. Now, in addition to the REDS Tracker and the Defense Workforce Project, NDIA also has industrial committees, and I think there's 2 of them right now. And this offers the opportunity for senior DoD officials, everything from agency heads to the directors to the PEOs. It allows them to meet with senior executives of NDA corporate member companies, like AJ and John. And they'll discuss key issues and challenges to a particular defense area. Now, they meet periodically to exchange information, address challenges, review issues of common interest and concern, and communication to solve problems. And these topics that are mutually agreed between the industry chair and the senior government officials. And what are the objectives again? Because we're all about objectives, especially in program management. The objectives are to provide an ethical forum for discussion and exchange, discussing the Office of the Secretary of Defense and service policies that affect the relationship with suppliers, discussing emerging issues in government and industry that are affecting our readiness and capabilities of production, and also cooperating on various projects that are of mutual benefit to all.
So the National Defense Industrial Association drives strategic dialogue in national security by identifying key issues and leveraging the knowledge and experience of its military, government, industry, and academic members. NDIA represents all sizes and sectors of the defense industrial base.
So a little more detail about that. NDIA is comprised of 49 affiliate chapters and divisions with more than 1,800 corporate members and 65,000 individual members. Now, these affiliated organizations also with NDIA are Women in Defense. There's more and more of us, right? And also the National Training Simulation Association. So in addition to US involvement, NDIA also has 19 international partnerships, produces the National Defense Magazine. Now this magazine gets over 1 million views annually. Now, NDIA as we've talked about, has a different mission than other organizations that you hear about here at SMA, like IPMD. NDIA promotes collaboration between industry and government. With these forums, it allows us to address issues and make recommendations to Congress for legislative changes and to agencies for policy changes.
Their vision statement is to serve as a trusted leader among national security associations.
Okay, so now, we talk about vision, and we're now going to talk about NDIA's mission. So NDIA's mission is to engage thoughtful and innovative leaders to promote best practices, policies, products, and technology for the warfighter and other things who ensure the safety and security of our nation. Now, topics of interest to NDIA include championing issues that contribute to the strength, resilience, and capacity of the DIB, and all building a vigorous response and collaborative community in support of our defense and national security, as well as convening legal and ethical forums to the exchange of ideas, information, viewpoints, and capabilities.
NDIA's policy and strategy priorities are to educate and promote business stability. Sorry, that's budget stability. To foster small business success, to gain acquisition agility and modernization, promote innovation in technology and process, expand security cooperation and interoperability, and to act as a thought leader to strengthen the DIB in the workforce.
Okay, we're almost to the end of giving you the background info, the history. There's some very interesting articles in National Defense on NDIA's 100th birthday. It's entitled Building on a Strong Foundation by James C. Bozer. That was written in January of 2019. And there's also a plethora of information on the NDIA website. And because we're a member, we also are able to connect through NDIA Connect. So on to you.
Yeah, now for the main part of the town hall, right? So the Integrated Program Management Division, IPDM, is the primary forum for exchanging views and information to promote and communicate integrated program management best practices. The IPDM division actively works to foster a mutual understanding and effective working relationship between industry and government regarding development, documentation, and maintenance of the effective integrated program management process. As we all know, in EVMS, this is really key because it takes both industry and government to have a successful EVMS project.
True. So the forum we attended, there was about 200?
Probably about 200 people.
About 200 people. So it was in Tucson at the El Conquistador Resort.
Very nice, by the way.
Yeah, okay. And it's hosted by the division. Now, we all know how important EVMS is to SMA's business and to the government contractors that we work with. And if you're curious, just remembering, how far ago did we talk about EVMS? Was it Town Hall
181?
Okay, so you can always check that and get that if you'd like. Okay, and then remember, we also talk about EVMS on our latest BD Opportunity Town Hall.
We have a lot of open opportunities for EVMS.
Yeah, so shout out to the associates that are on the call. We appreciate you. Okay, back to a couple weeks ago in Tucson. It was a 2-day forum. And the conference was called to order. The current chair is Kim Harrington, and he's the VP of Government Finance with L3. And I think we're familiar with L3 here at SMA as being one of our clients.
Absolutely. Now, the keynote speaker was Major General David Abba, U.S. Air Force Director of Special Programs. General Abba is no stranger to SMA either. His father, Wayne Abba, is an SMA associate and Packard Award recipient for his work at OSD, re-engineering cost and schedule management policies. General Abba's call sign, DEAC or DQ. He is an F-22 fighter pilot and has held a variety of flying assignments at the squadron, group, and wing level, including serving as a weapons officer for the 58th Fighter Squadron, Director of Operations for the 27th Fighter Squadron, and Commander of the 94th Fighter Squadron, Commander of the 3rd Operations Group, and Commander of the 53rd Wing. Now, the general staff assignments include Air Power Strategist and Project Checkmate, Assistant Executive Officer to the Air Force Chief of Staff, Senior Air Force Strategy Advisor in the Office of the Undersecretary of Defense for Policy, and the Director of the F-35 Integration Office, which is a lot to say.
It is.
General Abba recommended that everyone check out the newly published DoD Industrial Strategy, and we'll provide the link in the chat. General Abba's other main point is that there is only about 1,000 days until 2027. For those that are not aware, there is a considerable amount of chatter about a major warfare initiative striking the US in 2027. Why is this important? Because the defense industrial base needs to be prepared. Scheduled delays in our existing programs and strategies could lead to the US not being able to deploy our best and greatest strategies and technological solutions in time. General Abba's tagline for the conference: schedule, schedule, and schedule.
Well, and that's always good to hear, because, a lot of times, the generals, they don't really have a hold on EVMS, but the general does because of the connections in his family, right?
Well, he said he grew up talking about it around the dinner table. So, I'm sure that made for interesting conversation.
Good. And you know what, I think one interesting thing that General Abba kind of wanted everyone to read is the industrial defense strategy that you can get right now that's being released.
It had just come out either the week before or while we were there at the conference. And so, as I said, we'll put that link into the chat. It's very important that we all kind of understand what the plan is for industry, not just, the government strategy, but.
Yeah, and it allows for that feedback that as it's being finalized, that we can give that. Okay, so what does the form do? So the form provided an update on changes to policies from the DoD. We heard from NASA. We also heard from the DOE. Now, these included changes to appropriation laws, evaluation strategies, and compliance documentation updates. So let's talk about the general themes of what we heard, because it was a 2-day conference, with presentations from industry and government.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's centered around technology advances and how we will see significant efficiencies in the implementation of earned value, as well as we heard incredible insights and predictive capabilities about what's coming in the future. So imagine not only being able to create your schedules in a fraction of the time from using the vast libraries of past schedules, but having your systems run predictive analytics that can detect possible issues in the supply chain in advance of them showing up in the EVM reports. Now, several large firms like Northrop Grumman and Lockheed are already deploying internal AI assistants that are helping assist in analyzing and creating schedules, checking compliance, and conducting VARs. So that's internally, they're already looking at AI to make their jobs more efficient. So these AI tools are acting, again, like the virtual assistants that we all want, and they provide easy access to relevant information at the touch of a finger. I mean, it's pretty amazing what's going to happen in the next 5-10 years.
Well, and that was really what their thought was, because a lot of people, of course, are not very, how should we say, excited about EVMS, especially on the government and contractor side. It's very time intensive, labor intensive, costly to implement. But the point being that things are going to get better for everybody.
And so on the panel with several of the primes, as we said, Lockheed and Northrop Grumman, they even talked about their internal AI tool, which they've called EVA. And Northrop Grumman has one as well. They call that Walt.
He chose his own name and his own avatar too, so he was pretty funny.
So again, it's all about connecting with these forums and creating those relationships.
What I also found pretty funny is that repeatedly from the different companies that have implemented an internal AI assistant for EVMS, they kept saying over and over that AI tends to not only respond in the positive, like you can't ask it negative questions, but that it gets attitude if you're not polite to it. It likes you to say please and thank you. It actually has feelings in this area. So I thought that was kind of cute. But AI certainly opens up a whole world of additional analysis and predictive capabilities. For now, those remain firmly in the future. Companies have significant strides to take to enable their business systems into a cloud environment and to train their AIs properly to really unlock the capabilities for the future. But this, I think, is really a great area for us for strategy going forward. Another topic of interest is with the Department of Energy, and they had some great discussions and panels on how to implement earned value in an agile software environment. They've created a comprehensive roadmap for how to do this, how to program your sprints, time your schedule, cost, and performance into their EVMS models. And this is huge because it's a big issue, especially in the Department of Defense.
Yeah. So we're starting to see a clear shift about how EV value is regarded. And many organizations are moving their EVMS out of the cost accounting and financial divisions and more into the formal program management function. It's being seen less and less as a cost tool and more of an overall program management tool. I think as we move forward towards these integrated data sets and cloud computing, that you'll see all of the tools used in a program management environment working closely together in a more integrated manner, like bringing it in closer and in more real time.
Right.
Because, a lot of times it takes quite a while to see the data once you start that EVMS project.
And that's really when the power of AI is going to come out too, is when it's just a cost accounting system, it's just an EVMS system, you're only going to get so much insights. But when you're really combining all of your program management systems in together, that's really where it's going to become more powerful.
So overall, I think both of us found the forum to be very productive and interesting. The individuals who attended, are from those major primes, and we had a good mix of earned value focal points, company executives, government officials, and high-level practitioners. And it's becoming more and more critical in our business, and everyone will want to be very knowledgeable. I think that might be a good time. I recreated one of the slides. The slides aren't going to be available for a couple of weeks, right?
And this is great because what we were really interested, obviously we're here as BD executives to show you guys what we can do, what the future is going, but also to get more clients and more jobs for us as a whole. And so what we were looking at is DCMA provided a slide, and they have separated out their organization into these groups. And each group has a set of companies that they focus on their EVMS, evaluations and criteria, systems, etc. So are you able to share that slide?
I believe I can. Can everyone see it? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, it looks like I'm sharing it, so I'll talk about it. So DCMA has an EVMS center, and so it organizes the company into 6 different groups. One of them is Lockheed Martin. Then, as you can see, Boeing. Then they combine Northrop Grumman with Kratos, Blue Halo, and Westinghouse. Then now also Raytheon, which is part of Pratt Collins, VigorWorks, Ball Aerospace, Peraton, L3 Harris, and DRS are another group. And these groups are organized by a major company as well as geographically. Then we have a large group with BAE and GD. That also includes Battelle, General Atomics, Jacobs Technology, Bell Flight, Bechtel, Coleman Aerospace, Amentum, Textron, Aerojet, Rocketdyne, and Honeywell. And then that last group is a large general group that kind of pulls together a lot of different clients that we have as well.
Right.
We've been doing work with, including GV Aviation, Leidos, Rolls-Royce. Oh, a tongue twister. Eastern Shipbuilding Group. As you can see, Charles Stark, the Development Laboratory, Dianetics, BAE, and VT Halter Marine. And so as you can see, these companies have validated, systems.
This is the bulk of EVMS work, prime EVMS work. Obviously, the number of subcontractors, second tiers, and such is probably astronomical. But this, at the end of the day, for the Department of Defense, are the companies that are really heavily invested in earned value.
Now, we're hosting live, so sometimes there's, questions. Do we have any questions in the chat? Is anyone interested in anything? Let us know if you do. Otherwise, that kind of, concludes our review for this week.
Yeah, it concludes what we wanted to talk to you guys about. We're actually both here in DC, and so I wanted to say hi from all the cherry blossoms. It's beautiful out here. And that next week's town hall will feature AJ and Jacques on SMA's Q1.
Okay. All right. So I think we're waiting for, let's see if there's any questions, because we do like that interactivity in the town hall. Has anyone, curious that's listening, has anyone been to an NDIA event? Do you want to go to a future one? Let us know.
I think Northrop Grumman's hosting the next one up here in DC in August.
Actually, it's in Bethesda, and I think, yeah, I think Raytheon likes to host it too. All right. Well, again, we look forward to, there was a lot of other updates, on during the forum. Looks like we have a question from Jacques. What surprised us the most about the event?
To me, it was the AI. I mean, that was really exciting to me because obviously you can only talk about compliance and laws and that sort of thing for so often before people are falling asleep. And so really understanding the future of earned value and how it's going to help all programs.
Okay.
Predictive stuff. That's what gets me excited.
And I have to admit, I kind of nerded out a little bit on when they talked about like the DCMA and all the different business practices and the updates and things that are available. Like there's a new EVM glossary that's coming out, again, to help define terms. The speakers, there's a new head of the acting director of the DoD. So he updated a lot of those projects. As well as there's updates on the guidelines that NDIA produces for EVMS. They're looking at reducing the guidelines from 32 to 28. So there's committees meeting on that. And then also like they talked about common deficiencies and how to like work through them. And so I know our EVMS practitioners, I took some notes to kind of send back to them. So that's what kind of surprised me.
There were some really good meeting debates, shall we say, about different things. Management reserve was a constant topic of conversation as well, and what it can be or what it should be used for versus should not be used for, because there's really not a lot of hardcore rules around that. But it was pretty interesting. It was a heated and fun.
And so it looks like Jacques has another question for us. Did the government share their perspective on the use of AI? And will NDI provide guidance on the use of AI as we're moving forward?
So they did in some way. So what we're talking about when we talk about AI is internal. These are internal to a company. So they're behind their firewall. They're not reaching out to the internet. And what they really use for right now is you can put all of your libraries of everything, your bars, all of your assessments, schedules, baselines, etc., into a library, and your AI can go and search that. It can search similar projects. It can also start saying, on projects that have similar schedules, you've really always had a problem at this point. This is where you bottleneck every single time. You might want to start looking at that. But they did also say that everything an AI does has to be reviewed by a human. It provides you an insight to go look and then do further analysis on. It's never going to replace humans, but it's going to make humans much more effective because we're going to be spending less time doing kind of the minutia of everything and more time really looking at the causes of issues and how to resolve them. But the government seemed very excited about it.
And Alan, to go with your question, and for analytics didn't have any forum presentations at this one, but that's in the future, especially in August, re-looking at that. This was a time of brainstorming a lot of having those panel discussions. There were several panel discussions. So, can you believe it? We're almost out of time. All right, everyone. Well, as we said, please join AJ and Jacques next week, and we'd like to sign off. And thanks for joining us today on the town hall.
Bye.